Alrighty, Doctor from North America. Another fun-filled day. Let's see what we got going on here. No, it's not. It's better than a fun-filled day. It's Friday. Yay. TGIF. Thank goodness it's Friday. Alright, let's see what we got today. Let's see. Alright. Oh, and let's tune in. Let's put that down right there. Let's tune in and see if there's any chat going on. It'll chat here or there. What do we see? What do we see? Oh. Nice commercial. There we are. No chat. Okay, so that's not too bad. We'll start rolling along. It's been kind of quiet, you know. Yesterday was quiet. I don't think anybody asked a question yesterday. Let's kill the volume here. And I hear my volume, so that's good. All right, there we go. We got, what are we seeing there now? You see the Swiss, it is moving down, which means obviously the dollar is moving down. I guess the panic is gone for the time being. The cryptos had their little scare, and the currencies ran to the dollar. You know, every pairs trades ran towards the dollar, and now we are moving away from that again. And we'll see how that plays itself out as usual. Like basically, I don't think it plays itself out any more unique than before. In other words, everything stays inside its range. Everything stays the way they've been playing. Oh, there we go. Less. Did you see the email? Did that make sense? I forgot all about the email. Oh, I'm doing good today. Did you see the email we sent over? Oh, good. Good. I'm trying to get a picture. You sound like Newberg Bergman, you know, out of New York. You sound like that type of operation, just in Europe, I'm assuming, right? Are you in Europe? Just from your examples, I assumed you're in Europe. Anyway, the cryptos, you know, they tried to scare them down, what, 2 days ago? You saw, you know, Daniel and I were talking about that. Daniel was saying 20,000. Definitely was more believing to see 40,000 before I see 20,000, that's for sure. It just reminds me of, no problem. We'll talk through an email. I don't see, let's see, what do we got up on the screen here? So we're looking at the pairs trades here, and I'm talking about cryptos. I keep on getting messages from older members of the exchanges around the country. Remember, Doc belonged to like 6 or 7 of them. So there's a lot of people that, you know, like I was the kid back then. So like me, I'm in my 60s, and a lot of them are in their late 70s or even 80s. Some of them, unfortunately or fortunately, they've passed on to the next life. But in the end result is that they're trying to understand the crypto, and I keep on saying it's a technology. You're buying a technology that guarantees you more independence with your assets. That's all it is. And they go, but isn't it a pyramid? And I go, isn't everything a pyramid? You know what I mean? In other words, you're buying Apple stock knowing that the earnings is there at the moment. They're the most popular telephone manufacturer on the planet, basically. I mean, I guess between them and Samsung. But in the end result is that aren't you... And look at the PE ratio of Apple to begin with. You would think that it would be, I mean, look at the PE ratios of some of these big tech stocks compared to, say, an Apple. Well, that justifies calling them all pyramidal on some level or another. Ah, okay. Okay. That makes sense. So, you know, I look at the cryptos, and to me, it's a technology that works around the absurd politicians, basically trying to look. We know that capitalism works. We know that freedom works. We know that tyranny is basically from a socialism or, you know, a totalitarian type of government. And cryptos are a guarantee that no matter where you live, you can hide your assets away from these maniacs that are trying to, you know, spend it on things that don't seem to work. You know what I mean? Look, if all that stuff worked, the Soviet Union would be here today, and the American capitalist system would be totally 100% gone by now. But it doesn't work. People would be running to Venezuela, not the United States. They're walking from Central America to the United States, not to Venezuela. If the socialism worked, they would run to it. I don't see people running to it. Is it my imagination? But I don't see it. So anyway, that's what cryptos are. And you can tell that they've come back to life too. We're going to jump over to the, let's see, where are we at here? Let's do this. What's that? Oh, that's up top. Okay. So let's open up the pairs trades to start off with, right there. And then we'll take a look at the Bitcoin and the Coinbase just real quick. I'll take a look at Bitcoin. I think it's firm again today. You know, just they tried to sell it down a little bit. I don't think it worked out too well. Right there. Yeah, so it's just a little bit higher today than where it settled last night. But last night or yesterday, they took it up to 42.37. So not bad. You know, it was a 25% move off of the lows, if not better, 28%. And then today you can see it's ran up to close to the high again of yesterday, and at the moment it's trading around 41,000. But that's exactly where we're at with this. This is the cryptos. You know, currencies are doing a really nice job of being more independent away from the fundamentals, which is sad. And well, no fundamentals work anymore anywhere, so it doesn't really matter. But the cryptos, we thought were an inflation fighter. I thought it was tax season pushing it all down. Nothing more than that. Remember, there's no central bank supporting these things, so they're going to be volatile. But will they be higher 2 or 3 or 4 years from now? More than likely. I saw a really great quote this morning. I thought it was well worth. I thought, oh, I got to mention this in the webinar. And that was, it was a quote about, gold and silver. And they said, there's no reason to take profits in any of these, gold or silver, because until governments are balanced budgets, one day the metals complex will be where it belongs. In other words, it's being artificially held down now. And you can see the cryptos are not being artificially held down. They've become the tool that the gold and the silver were supposed to be. So, you really look at these things, whereas the currency pairs themselves that we watch, this is a Forex webinar, they are not controlled by the fundamentals anymore, and they're just kept in some type of channel or envelope. Good trading tools. You have your rarities like the Turkish lira that goes literally haywire and goes from like 1.5 to 9. So I mean that's pretty dramatic. But that's government policy. That's exactly what we're all talking about. That's what cryptos are good about. I mean, don't you think there's a lot of people in Turkey right now that are happier to sitting in cryptos losing 50% than losing 700%? I mean, you have a Turkish lira that's trading at 1.5, then it's 2.5, and you have Erdogan out there, just telling them how much he loves Turkey and he wants Turkey to be strong and powerful. And then the currency goes to 3.5, then it goes to 4.5, and then 5.5. I mean, that's 400% shift. And then all of a sudden, I mean, so you can easily take a hit of 50% in the crypto, and it's back 25 or 30% of it literally in one day. Whereas we don't see the Turkish lira falling from 8.5 down to like 5 or 4.5 in one day. That's not happening. It seems to be going on the wrong way. It's heading up, not down. And so the currency pairs overall, as long as you're not a maniac running your country, chances are your currency is going to be relatively stable. I mean, we had Brexit. They drove it from the 150s down to the 120s. I mean, that was a tenacious move in a very old, industrialized, powerful nation of economics. That's nowhere near what the people in Turkey went through. They got their heads handed to them. I mean, can you imagine one day your currency is, we could use the euro. Can you imagine one day the euro is trading at 120, and the next day it's trading at 80.80, and then the next day it's like trading at then it works its way down into those areas down to the 70 or 0.60 or 0.50, and then you're hoping to see it at 120 again. It's not going to move like that. So here is my idea source. Okay. Arbitrage in market as the top leading edge technology research by Toshiba and the university professors from Japan for reaching near quantum execution speed. I think I've mentioned it. I've been very close to the computer science leadership of the planet for a while, and I would say that quantum computing, they have the storage capacity, but I've mentioned this in the webinar, and it probably goes over most people's heads. They don't have the processing power. You're talking about, you really need a processor and a master control program in quantum dynamics to really get quantum computing going. So they can store incredible amounts of data now through certain elements, and they're consistent, but they don't have the processing. Fun time, how cope with the desire to things up a bit. Let's see, what's this fun time? Let's see, near quantum execution speeds. Yeah, so that's my answer to that. Now, what's Nesbitt fun time? How to cope with desire to fuck up things a bit? Yeah, governments do that. See you all later. Take care. Have a good weekend. Have a safe and smart weekend. That's what cryptos are all about in the end result. They're to keep assets away from government officials. That's pretty much what it comes down to, and nothing wrong with that, Let's see, where are we at? So do you see the rub with the quantum computing? And I saw the Japanese one about a week ago or two. They thought they had another breakthrough, but Toshiba. I saw the study. I did see it last week. I don't think they. Again, I started to read it, and all it is storage. I don't think they have a mark. Let me just grab it. I'll take a look again, but I don't think that they have a master control program, basically a processor that can take the quantum storage, the data, and move at the same speed as quantum storage is. Let's take a look at that. Let me just take a look. Because I did see that. I think it was like last Monday or Tuesday. I know it was about 8 or 9 days ago. And I thought, let's see what they're up to. And then I went, okay. Just another, attempt to do quantum computing. What is it? Here's one that says it's Penn State, Toshiba, and Westinghouse. New research into, let's see. We're taking a look at that now. Alright, let's see what the date on this is. Internet, Skype, scientists, your school library. I'll go after it and look, but if it's on the Bloomberg site, forget about it. It's got to be 9 out of 10 things on the Bloomberg site are wrong. So if it fits their political spin, that's the only way it gets on there. But I didn't see the link. Arbitrage opportunities market. I just don't see it. I mean, I just don't see the technology. I just don't see it's there. All right, let me go to the Bloomberg site and see what they say. But if it's on Bloomberg, there's a good chance that it's just fantasy or spin. That's what the problem with Bloomberg is. All right, I'm going to go to the Bloomberg site and see if we can give you an opinion on that really quick. But I trust Bloomberg about as much as I trust Aragon keeping their currency at 1.5, 2 since he's been prime minister and now president. That's about what I equal the two to. Let's see. Let me cut and paste your Toshiba University thing. Like I said, I think I saw this last week, about 7-8 days ago. And, it all was gobbledygook. In other words, they all started off with the dream, what they could sell. And then it just disappeared. It didn't make any sense to me. It was still talking about storage, and storage is not the problem. But you're trying to do an arbitrage. You want to do arbitrage. Arbitrage is trading options against the underlying product at this point in life. That's all that is. The days of arbitrage are gone. Technology's overtaken it. Let's see. Link message to Toshiba and Bloomberg. I'll do that. But I'm almost dead sure I saw it and I read it. Because like I said, I got frustrated thinking, oh God, this is not going anywhere. Just another fantasy. Bloomberg website. Yeah, could quantum computing help, better algorithms? Sure, I imagine so. But again, you need to have a master control program that can do that. Bloomberg, world leading news platform. No, it's not. Toshiba America research in Bloomberg. Profile Toshiba research including stock prices. Look, if it worked, why would they talk about it? Like, I show my algorithm and show how successful it is, but I don't give you the formula. News, Bloomberg, Toshiba research. Toshiba medical research, Toshiba stock. Was it Toshiba American research? Let's see. Bloomberg. Let's see. Toshiba Corp. News, Bloomberg markets. Okay, here's one. Toshiba Europe, Bloomberg. Let's see what that says. I don't see anything there. That's not. Toshiba Research Ltd. founded in '91. The company's line of business includes providing commercial, physical, and biological research development. See what I mean? It's just spin, like usual. Let's see. Unless as Toshiba wants to use it that means it doesn't exist. Use it for trading and arbitrage opportunities. This is the reason I wanted to add these kind of technologies to my algorithmic trading, as well as to keep my algorithm up to date. Let's see. Do I have a buy? I hear you, LSLS, but I just don't see it. I just don't see it. I'm sure better computing can do better trading, but if it really worked, they wouldn't be talking about it. Here, let's give you a perfect example. You know what the Renaissance Group is with Jimmy Simons? Right? It's the #1 hedge fund in the world. How much do you know about that? They perform with, they produce like my type of returns. 50, 60, 70, 80, 200, 300% a year. That type of thing. All right, now let's go take a look at Dow Jones. And you can give me the answer there. Tell me, have you heard of, LSLS, have you heard about Jimmy Simons' operation? Okay, so here is Stefan. Yeah, you can see it went into the daily buy yesterday, and it's up a little bit again today. And so it's in a daily buy, but that's the thing that's bothering me. I'm watching the weekly here. Maybe it'll do the same thing. What did I see? Oh, I saw it in live cattle. No, in hogs, last week. Let me open this up. I was wondering if it's going to do the same thing that hogs did. Let me see if I can open it up right there. Actually, I didn't even need to open it up, but I'll open it up anyway. I could have just gone to the chart I sent over. I heard about him that he is a Cold War code breaker and professor. Yeah, something like that. He was post-Cold War. Oh, no, Cold War, yes. He was a Cold War code breaker and a professor. But take a look at Renaissance Fund. The real arbitrage in this world today is options or binaries against the underlinings. That is the only arbitrage left. Let's see. Okay, so I wanted to show you hogs. Check this out. Look at hogs did. Hogs have been very interesting. Hogs have been in this weekly buy all the way back to like December. Okay, see it there? And they went into a weekly sell last week, and then look at them this week. You know, they jumped back into the they were in a daily sell here, and they jumped in. And I was thinking in the back of my head, Stefan, that are we going to see the same thing? You can see it here with now this morning. Let's see how close it is. Let's give this a refresh. But it may not even make it into the weekly sell. It's right on the edge of it. It's minus 14 at the moment in plot 1. Okay? And so, you know, is it going to close in a weekly sell and then leap up? Now, look at this thing. This thing was in a weekly buy since March, right? So it had a long run going on. The NQs had been in the weekly buy since, you know, April, which is not long ago. It's only like 6-7 weeks ago. And went into the weekly sell last week. You know, we broke down, but we didn't take out the low here, and now we're lifting up. So, you know, I'm wondering, you know, is this like the big A, this is the B and the C, and, you know, and we're just going to sideways. So I think that's really the real answer there to, you know, the Dow Jones Industrial Average, which has been acting extremely well compared to the other indices. Let's take a look at the S&P 500. Right there, you know, late March, it did that too. Went into a buy for a couple weeks, went into a sell, came right back out of it after 1 week, and is in a buy now. Now it's flirting with the weekly sell. Stock indices, to a great extent, you know, are holding up very well in here. Matter of fact, it looks like a basing pattern here, and like as if they're going to try to take off again. They're going to probably play off the earnings. The institutions are probably going to buy a little bit more because only was it Leon Cooperman was on in the beginning of the week, and he said he's looking for a 4,000 Dow, you know, an S&P, and if that's all he's looking for, then there's not much of a correction going on. See what I mean there? Okay. All right, I guess that resolved that. LS is looking at. I got a great story about Jimmy Simons, about why he took. He's a mathematician, but he took over the physics department over at Stony Brook. And Stony Brook is where one of the Manhattan Project computers was, and the guys there. The difference between we'll get back to currencies after this story, and in the computer there was just like the one at University of Pennsylvania and the one at the IAS and the one out in Chicago during the Manhattan Project. But everybody just knew about the University of Pennsylvania one. So the guys at the ones who were crunching the math for the Manhattan Project to build a nuclear bomb back in World War II were working out of Stony Brook. And I guess it was like in the 50s and the 60s. After that, the department was slowly diminishing. It wasn't as popular. I guess people were going to California. Now Los Alamos was established, that type of thing, where the bomb was being built. So Jimmy Simons breaks away in the 60s. The 60s or the 70s? I guess it's mid-late 60s. And takes over the physics department at Stony Brook, but he's a mathematician. Well, on that computer, I knew a physicist that was working there during the Manhattan Project. And he says because of the time difference in Los Alamos, which is 3 hours difference, what they would do is they would do computer programs against stocks. And then when Oppenheimer would send them math to crunch, it could be like 11 o'clock, that type of thing. 3 hours difference. So it could be like 7 or 8 in the morning out in Los Alamos. So they would stop what they're doing. They would crunch the numbers for Oppenheimer for the nuclear weapon, and then they would go back to playing with the computers on the stock market. So I think Jimmy Simons went there to, and they were just doing stochastics and RSIs, stuff you can get today. It wasn't anything too sophisticated. This particular physicist came to me because of my experience in options, and him and his son were reading stock option quotes in newspapers, and they thought that they saw an arbitrage less out of it. And so I showed them that they were wrong. They were getting the wrong quotes. But that's why Simon went to Stony Brook, I'm figuring, to learn what the nuclear physicists were doing, computer-wise, with stocks. So, all right. End of that story for a Friday, unless there's questions for it. Now let's jump back to the currencies. The one thing that caught my eye this morning was the euro. It was heading for a daily sell. Let's see, let's find it here. Right there, there's the, it was showing weakness, and let's put it up on the Chicago Quant at the same time. Let's see, where's that right there? Still is, okay. Now here it's getting close, you can see that. But here on my Chicago Quant, my proprietary math, you can see it has dipped below the zero line. See? And it's not touching the weekly at all. I mean, this is just noise. And it's using the dotted line now as a base or as a support. So, but alas, the only arbitrage really out there is not going to be from quantum computing. Because I can tell you this, the high frequency guys have a lot of money invested in their machines and how they connect to them, and they barely make a dime. They can barely make any money out of it. They get paid more for commissions, for rewards and so forth for adding volume. And if they break even, they're happy. So if that's what you want to do, that's already out there. You don't need quantum computing. You can follow along their footsteps. That means proximity too of the execution. So that means that you would need to have your machines in North Jersey or in Cleveland or something like that, almost right where the execution is going on computer-wise. So you could be inside a nanosecond, so. Let's see, where are we at now? Okay, so here's the euro. They're using the dotted line as a support now, it seems like. And we'll see how much they lift it. And we're seeing this weakness right there. Let's take a look at cable. Cable, right there. Now the cable, you can see, is trying to move down, but it's holding on by its heritage, and it has, it's looking good. Let's see, what's the high today? Come on, there's a high. High is 42s again. We've been looking at that. We really think that this thing wants to build a base up in there and go up into the high or mid 40s, like 45 to 47. That's how we've been seeing this, and that's the cable. I think the cable is really, pushing in that direction. And then we go over to Turkish lira. That's our dessert here. And they're already pushing down, which is a little surprising. I thought for sure this time, since we're in a weekly buy, the thing would find a way to dig its way up. So let's give it a refresh and then jump over to the euro against the Turkish lira and see what that is telling us, because that's usually even more insightful. Right there. You can see that's holding up. So chances are maybe by the end of the day they stay in the daily buy, on the dollar Turkish lira. Maybe over the weekend. I don't know. Does Erdogan do something foolish again? I don't know. Anything's possible. All I know is that since he's become prime minister / president, the currency's going from 1.5 to 9. That's an ouch. It's definitely is it 9 or 8.5? I think it's 8.5 or 8.70, something like that. It's not hit 9, but that's an ouch when it comes to currencies. Perfect candidate for cryptos, for the private investor there in that country. Let's see now. Remember why it dropped and went wacko? Wasn't it like the head of their central bank ran off with $2 billion or $3 billion worth of money? And I guess he claimed that he's going to give the money back to the investors, and that Aragon was going to keep the money. I don't know, something like that, some wild stuff. Okay, oh, what's it? LS says, thanks. Where shall we hire a dedicated server for high frequency and spot forex trading, please? I mean, it is dependent on which spot forex trading broker we are connecting to. I don't know. We'll have to look at that. We'll take a look at it. Send me in. When I see your email, I'll be able to give you a better response. It'll have to be, it'll have to be out of Newark, out of Sea Caucus. There's a server farm there that you can rent space in, and that's where you can put that. And I do have some connections to that. I don't know anybody over in Cleveland. I think Cleveland's the backup. Chicago, they've been trying to do it too at the same time. They've been running high, what do cell towers do? High microwave communications, trying to beat, for high frequency trading. I'm telling you, the real game is not those things. You want to make money, or you want to sell the idea. I guess if you want to sell the idea, you might be able to create a template and sell it to some people. But they're going to find out that they don't make money, and it's going to wreck your reputation as an institution. The only real arbitrage out there is in options against the underlying product now. And also, look up another one, Miami Exchange. They're making markets. It's part of my old trading group, and they're doing something out there. Run by Larry Gardner. He was with my trading group. We were all together for a bunch of years. Then I think he took over options at Citadel, and now he's got the Miami Exchange going, and they're doing something like they're making a market. Take a look at that one, Miami Exchange. Equinox? I'm not sure who Equinox is. I've heard of. You just Google that. No, the Miami Exchange. I'm not sure about Equinox. I thought that was a retailer. Let's see. Equinox. Paste. Equinox stock, Equinox career portal, Equinox Exchange Cloud, Equinox data center. Where in Sea Caucus? That's just another one. I guess I don't know anything about Equinox. Oh, wait a minute. Where's this at? Philly. Oh, so it's probably the old. You know what it might be? It might be part of. It's probably owned by the Nasdaq, which is the old Philadelphia Stock Exchange. They had what do they have it? They had a brilliant execution system called Central Mart. Central Mart. And it was the best of the best. It still is to this day. I don't think maybe Equinox is that Equinox IBX data center calculation service, enabling world-leading companies to interconnect cloud apps and so forth. Nah, they're not going to have the speed. I doubt that. No, it's in Sea Caucus. There's a server farm, and that has. That's where the New York Stock Exchange stocks are traded out of. So that's where the data feed comes from, I believe, at this point. And so you'll be like literally feet away from the execution, which gives you the edge. But again, they don't make money. These high frequency people are not making money. So, I don't think you want to try to sell that idea anywhere. I think that's about the best way to look at it at this point. So anyhow, where did we leave off? We were looking at the Turkish lira. From there, we jump over to, like I said, I'm thinking the Turkish lira will probably, maybe in the afternoon, perk back up since the euro is looking so firm there, which we left up on the screen. Now, where do we go from here? Let's go to Canadian. Yeah, but these guys, again, Equinox, no, the high frequency guys don't make any money. You see my point? They're not making any money. They're getting some type of not a commission, but they're getting something from the exchanges to add volume to the exchanges themselves. But they're not making any money. Okay, good. Well, I hear you there. We can talk on this. That's no problem. I'll wait for your email. But yeah, there's the only real game is basically options against the underlining when it comes to an arbitrage. That's about it. Let's see, where do I? Oh, Canadian. There it is. Yeah, Canadian's moving down. Good, good. You know, I mean that's probably putting. I would assume. I thought I saw it too. Oil went into a sell yesterday, but I think I saw it up today. So this would make sense. This is moving down. Let's take a look at that Euro Canadian position. Euro Canadian. Where are you? Right there. So that must be moving down also. I guess that's the way it works, right? Yeah. So that's moving down. So the oil must be moving up, and then we'll look at the NASCAD. And that's moving. I think that's supposed to be moving up for oil to go up. But notice it's just sideways. So let's go take a look at the oil complex. Right there. Yeah, see, it's up. It's up for the day, but it hasn't gotten into a daily buy yet. Let's give it a refresh. So the pairs trades are kind of insinuating, and then look at it at the same time. It is doing that flirting thing. Will it do the same thing as Hogs did last week? Will we see the Dow Jones Industrial Average just bounce? You know, will next week, you know, the Nasdaq 100, or on Dukascopy they call it the Tech 100. Will that start to do its bounce? See, I want to develop this best of the best algorithmic sport forex trading program. Sports. There you go. That's a good one too. There's some good science on sports. Did I ever tell you the story about me taking over a trading desk when I was a clerk on the trading floor for the head clerk of this trading firm? He was going to Vegas to do sports betting because he'd been very successful at picking baseball games. He had a pitcher's concept. Yeah, I could always reach out to him. Let's see, where are we at now? Let's go to, yeah, so there you can see oil is trying to lift up in July. Let's take a look at natural gas. Natural gas is still falling down, which was really curious with the way it did it to begin with. So you can see here, it's just the crude oil starting to lift up. Oh, okay. Spot forex. You know, I would imagine there's better opportunity. If there's going to be any arbitrage, you would have to assume, it depends on the clearinghouse that you're linked to, you would assume that if there's going to be any money to be made in a arbitrage, it's not going to be in stock or futures. It's going to be in forex. You got to figure that that's probably the best. But the question, the problem is that you literally have to become like a J.P. Morgan or a you have to be become a facilitator of execution for currency, like Dukascopy or Swiss, so forth, and that's where you do the arbitrage. That's where you do that's where it's at, because that money is feeding the trading desk. So they're not exactly going to turn it over to a customer. You're not going to get them to say, okay, yeah, sure, we're going to give you the opportunity to step in front of us on the trade. They're not going to do that, that's for sure. So you're going to have to become a market-making operation on currency to have a successful spot forex high-frequency thing. That's the way I look at it. Because I just don't see these banks saying, yeah, sure, we're going to let you step in front of our trade. Yeah. I don't see that happening. It's bad enough that their trading desks have been diminished by 70 or 80%. Now they're going to be giving away, and they'll do it if they could make good commission and not have to make markets. I would think that would be the way, but then you would assume that the commissions would beat you up on the high frequency side, because that's half the game right there is the commission. That's where they that's that commission thing that I'm talking about. That's what they do is the high frequency guys get a rebate. I haven't used this word yet in this conversation. The high frequency guys are getting a rebate on their commissions, so that they're not paying commissions, so that they can try to make money in their high frequency. If they didn't get the rebate, they wouldn't make money. I can't imagine a bank giving up the commissions on spot trading in Forex. That's what I think I'm thinking about. Does that make sense to you? I think we're chasing everybody away on this conversation. So there's that. So you can see on the energy complex, the currency pairs are showing, oil, yes, but natural gas, no. All right, now we'll go over to the ruble, see what's going on in the ruble this morning. See if that measures Mr. Biden's insanity. And it's still moving down, inching its way down. Not even inching, it's like an eighth of a centimeter move. I would imagine everybody's is, yeah, because they're a bank now. And the Federal Reserve is giving them free money overnight to compensate for their loss on trading. So they all are shrunk down. None of these guys have grown. None of these banks have grown on a trading desk. Trading desks are like 70% lower than what they used to be, if non-existent, in some places. Like I can't even imagine, I don't even know. I think they got rid of Deutsche Bank's trading desk, 4 or 5 months ago, 6 months ago? And after the chaos with the Tiger, Julian Roberts Tiger out of Asia, and what was it? Even Swiss Bank or one of the they made 17 million in commissions and lost, I don't know, some crazy number like $10 billion in the facilitation of it. So I'm sure a lot of heads have rolled. Look, the people are reading too many books from the 70s. They need to read books from 2008. Don't read a book unless it talks about trading from 2008 forward. If it doesn't talk about trading from 2008 forward, the book is pretty much just a reminiscent, a kiss and tell book of the history of great times. That's all it is. Let's see, where was I heading? Ruble. There's ruble. So it's inching its way down in a weekly sell and a daily sell, just slowly drifting south. Yen. Oh, I thought for sure with the way it was acting a couple days ago, we would, by the end of the week, get into the daily buy. But it doesn't seem to be happening. But look at that. The weekly seems to be holding up pretty well there on the yen against the dollar. Excuse me. So you can see there, looks like it might close in a weekly buy. It's really close. Look at the numbers. 0.02. It's nice and tight. Let's see, where do we go from here? We go to Mexican peso. Right there. Mexican peso looks like a minus. It's just sitting down there, and it is flirting with its weekly buy, but it's just still minus 0.01. It's really tight. Just made a move down. Maybe it's a 2 now. No, thought it made a move down. So it's just kind of tight. Looks like it's going to roll over again here. It's trying to roll over on the daily sell. We'll see how that rolls, because it's actually trading higher than yesterday. Alright, and then we go over to the Rand, see what the Rand is doing today and telling us about the metals complex. Right, where is it at? Dollar, there it is, dollar Rand. Dollar Rand is still in a sell. As this drops down, you got to imagine that there's strength in the metals complex. So now what we'll do is we'll take a look at the metals and see how they're going. Remember, other traders, if you don't want to hear what we're talking about, just throw a question out there and I will answer it for you. There you go, that makes sense here. Gold is lifting up pretty nicely. Let's give it a refresh. Let's see how silver's going. Les says, may I ask when there are not enough trading desks at banks, how they provide return for customers? They don't. Well, I mean, the Federal Reserve does. The Federal Reserve is providing the return for the customers now. So in other words, what the Federal Reserve does is it gives the banks money overnight for free, and they invest in the things that the Federal Reserve wants them to invest in. And so they make money that way. I mean, the numbers, loan, the ratio, and all that stuff to reserves are just through the roof in the sense of, or they're at the floor. They're down at the bottom. So the amount of loans that they provide for the amount of reserves that they have are incredibly low. So customer investment accounts with banks, are they using algorithmic trading instead of trading desks? No, they don't use algorithmic trading. Algorithmic trading is a fantasy from the 70s and the 80s and the 90s. You got to move to 2008, 2009. Let's see. It's quantitative trading now. Follow the Federal Reserve. What they do is what the markets do. They're the buyer of last resort. They're the specialists. They are the specialist books of old. That's what they are now. They've taken full control of the marketplace. Let's see, where was I headed? Oh yes, the silver. There it is right there. So that's lifting up also, looking very firm. And where are we at here? See, no, we're not doing that. So that's looking good too. The metals complex is moving in the right direction with the South African rand. You know, it's moving down, making new lows. What's that? 6-month lows. Wow. Let's jump over to J4X and take a look at this. South African rand is making some interesting lows here. Dollar ZAR. Dollar ZAR, where are you? Right there. And let's make this a weekly. Let's see. There we go. We haven't seen the rand down this area since, oh, what is that? January of 20. Is that right? Let's see, where are we at in here? I wonder if we can put a line in. Let's see if we can put a line in. There it is right there. So right now the rand is, let's see, where's the rand? The rand is trading at, remember this is in Hinkiashi too. So rand is trading at 13.89. So let's put that in there like that. 13.89. Right there. Now let's scroll over. It's taking out the lows of that. We're back to third quarter of 2019. That's where we're at there. On the ride up. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, that's the name of the game here right now. The metals complex is probably lifting that up. I think also between the labor union and the ANC, I think they're having problems about uniting. So you know, less socialism is slowing down. And weren't they trying to get rid of white farmers for a while in South Africa? I forget what they were doing with that. Weren't there like one white farmer a day was being killed or something? Maybe they've stopped that. Maybe that's part of it. So let's see, where are we at now? Ooh, that's looking nice. Oh, that's so nice for a summer day. Let's jump over to, let's see, what's this? This is that was the metals complex. So now what we do is we kind of visit, do we do it there? No, we get rid of that, and we close that, and then what we do is we open up to the cryptos. And then we'll look at the stock indices, because that's the real game. Open workspace, in the sense of, now there's probably an arbitrage there between cryptos to some extent, but again, it's a pre-2008 type of concept, because a lot of them have different technologies, and so people run to them in different ways. Ooh, so nice. Outdoor team. Indeed, that's probably one of them. But even then, there we go. Now let's jump over to, as I said, Bitcoin. We'll put it up on J4X. Let's see what Bitcoin looks like on J4X. Right, it's right around there. Something. There it is. There's Bitcoin on J4X. You can see it's trying to turn up too, and look, see they're showing that low of the 3000s. I mean, over here in the futures they've removed it altogether, which is crazy, crazy. All right, and there's Coinbase. Let's do this. There is Coinbase on an intraday. It's been coming up since that sell-off that we talked about. It's moving back up. Went down to below 210. Now it's at almost. It went almost got up to 240 yesterday. It was at 238.80, and today it is flirting with 238.92 right there. So it made another 10-cent move higher. Then we look at the stock. That's the stock, and then this is the daily stock itself. You can see it's trying to move up, and it's in a daily buy for a couple days now. It really jumped up off the lows and gave us a good signal there on the daily. Can't wait for this thing to fill in more. And then we look at the Bitcoin again, the Bitcoin. Not there, right there. Let's give it a refresh. Is that a little red dot we got going there? Yeah. Nothing major though, because look at it, it's holding over now for 3 days since it went into the buy on Wednesday. It's had a nice little move up, another $3,000 from the closing signal. So that's pretty good. What's the high there? The high is, it's like 42,370. So, and it closed that day at 39,855. So it was about $2,500 move on the upside. That's pretty cool. That's so cool. All right. Any other things out there, traders? We'll take a look at the stock indices now a little bit closer. Like I said, I'm wondering if this is just going to be short-lived. There's the Nasdaq 100. Let's put it up on J4X. That's the Tech 100. Right there. And then, whoa! I don't know what news just came out, but look at the rock and roll. Let's see if I can show it to you. Right there. What I'm going to do is I'm going to copy this and just send it down. That's the Tech 100. It just took off. It just like went to the moon. Let's see, paste a roux. There it is right there. Look at that. Someone came in there in a matter of, what was that, 2.5 minutes. They took it from the 13,053 or 530 to the 13,555. So 25 points in about 2 minutes. That's a nice rip-roaring move. So you can see Doc's math, his algorithm, quantitative algorithm, can read this stuff masterfully. That's where the really is. You combine my algorithm with option trading, and that's where you'll get your arbitrage out of it. And then look at that. It pushes it into the sell right there. See? Right there. And it goes down in value. That's the name of the game. And we'll get rid of that. Goodbye. USD Swiss. Yeah, let's take a look at that. Let's see what they're doing. Right there. USD Swiss, right there. Oh, it's lifting up a little bit. So some little dollar action. I guess the euro must be lifting up then too. I mean, falling down even more. It is. And you can see that. See, it's getting deeper down. I bet cable might be just about touching the line. Oh yeah, look at that. Cable's now touching the line. Let's widen that out so you all can see that. Matter of fact, it's minus. See that? No, it's not minus. It's holding on by the micro cut. It's 0.00007 now. Was 0.8 there a second ago. Let's see how closely. Oh, there's 0.4. Is it going to go minus? See, we look on an atomic level. I actually look on an atomic level when it comes to my algorithms. Now it jumped up to 8 again. So it's 0.00009. Ah, bouncing around in there. That's something. Something must have popped out news-wise. All right, traders. What else can we say about this? I don't think anybody want to see anything else. If not, I will get out of Dodge. It is Friday. We love Fridays. All right. So happy trails to you until we meet again. That'll be on Monday. Everybody have a safe and smart weekend. Happy trails to you, to all our trading friends. This is the Singing Trader, and we sing it when we're in the pit. And so, aloha.